House floor debate on marijuana law reform got snarled up in precisely the same knot that stalled committee deliberation on the matter for most of this session, namely the question of how much punishment for how much marijuana. A House committee had found that question so completely unanswerable after several lengthy sessions that it gave up on it entirely and passed out a bill calling for an across-the-board misdemeanor of up to 6 months in jail and or up to $1,000 in fines for possession of any amount of marijuana. A felony charge of possession of a large amount of marijuana with intent to sell it was left up to local law enforcement officials. But the committee bill did not last long on the House floor. Barely a few moments into the floor debate, Representative Tim Von Dolan of Goliad shoved in a substitute for it, which chucked the open-ended approach of the committee bill and reinstated the quantitative concept. The Von Dolan substitute, blessed by Governor Dolph Briscoe after his bill was canned by the House committee, called for a misdemeanor of up to 6 months in jail and or up to a $1,000 fine for possession of less than 4 ounces of grass. Possession of more than 4 ounces became a felony, punishable by 2 to 10 years in the penitentiary. The Von Dolan bill also stripped out the committee bill's resentencing provision, which would have allowed those serving sentences under the present felony law to petition for resentencing under the new misdemeanor law. Once Von Dolan had reopened the how much jail for how much marijuana question, it was clear that it was going to be a long day. Each of the 150 House members, it seemed, had his own idea of what combination of ounces and jail time should be in the law, and the House seemed to want to jaw at great length about each and every proposal.
What we need to find out is the House's views with respect to how much we want to make a misdemeanor. Is it going to be 4, 3, 2, 1? And you need to stop and think about this as you're casting your votes on these various amendments.
I have taken basically his identical bill, only I have lowered the amounts. I've come down from 4 ounces, cut it in half down to 2 ounces on the 8 ounce, which is a second degree misdemeanor. I've lowered it from 8 down to 6 ounces.
In other words, an individual will be found guilty of a misdemeanor if he possesses 1 ounce or less upon conviction, and shall be punished by confinement in jail for a term not to exceed 6 months.
This would also say that if you're caught with a half ounce or less, that the penalty would be not less than 6 days, nor more than 6 months, nor less than $100, nor more than $1,000, or both.
I really think that when we chose the 4 ounces, we tried to pick a figure that was reasonable, that there was somewhere in this area the distinction between the pusher and the person that was possessing for their own use. When we get down to the half ounce, we're getting down into a critical area where we're almost not changing the law at all.
The reason behind the no quantitative approach is that it makes much easier the lawsuits involving possession of marijuana.
The penalty on a first offense is 30 days, up to 30 days, and $500.
2 ounces or less, and the punishment on this is 6 months in jail and a fine of up to $1,000.
Not more than 30 days in jail and a fine not to exceed $500.
Well,
I'm here discussing this amendment that's before us rather than
answering embarrassing questions? Okay.
wet dry.
And the young people, or any people, to prison, to serve time, to be subjected to the horrible atrocities that prison often brings for smoking cigarettes or consuming alcohol. There is no legitimate...
Your amendment would do, or your substitute amendment would do, Mr. Dahl, is if a pusher, for instance, had marijuana stacked up in his garage, say 1,000 pounds, 1,000 pounds, just stacked in his garage, maybe had a tarp thrown over the thing, the maximum he could receive under your amendment would be 6 months in jail.
No, sir, that's not at all.
Evidence that cannabis causes defects in embryo development, broken chromosomes, and mutations. All of this purports some frightening prospects. Now,
With a severe punishment of life in the penitentiary is helping, I would agree with you, but it's not. And what I'm trying to tell you is this, is that right now the problem is putting the kids in the penitentiary is doing more harm to the society and more harm to the young person than what it is him smoking a marijuana cigarette. I know most of the members out here drink alcohol, and as far as we can tell, the effects of marijuana is not any greater than drinking a bottle of whiskey.
Mr. Maddox, can you tell me how many people that are out on the street today that have not tried marijuana for the simple reason that marijuana is a felony and for the simple reason that some of their friends and colleagues are in the penitentiary? Can you tell me the percentage that have not tried it? And then again, can you tell me how many, when we drop the penalties on it, how many people, young people, because the state legislature dropped the penalties, how many people it's going to encourage to start using it and go to county jail?
Let me tell you this, John. We've got people that, over 1 million people in the state of Texas that say that they have smoked it. Over 1 million. And I'll tell you this, in the state of Texas also has got more kids in the penitentiary than any other state. And I guarantee you we have not solved the problem. And I think the approach that you're following is nothing but some demagoguery, and I think it's improper, and you should know it because you're taking the lives of young people in your hands. And then